So with that, I want to get started, and I want to extend a huge thank you to our incredible panelists that are on today and our event sponsors. You'll hear a lot more from our amazing panelists very shortly. We're thrilled to be able to offer this experience to students virtually, and we truly could not be doing it without our amazing panelists and sponsors. So I will kick this off by turning it over to our moderator, Oriana Nelson. Oriana is a former JA High School Hero alum, current JA intern, and student at Princeton University. Oriana, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Oriana and I'm currently an engineering student at Princeton University, as Stephanie mentioned. As much as I love STEM, I love giving back to others in my community as well. This is why I'm so excited to be here with you today, moderating this wonderful event that I too took part in. With that being said, I would love for our amazing panelists to introduce themselves in the following order: Christina, Jackie, Joyce, and then Medea. Take it away, Christina.
Thank you, Oriana. So I'm Christina Santos, and I work at Sanofi, which is a human healthcare biotech pharma company based in New Jersey. And I have the privilege of leading inclusion and diversity and total well-being and equal employment opportunity in North America for the company. I've been there for 4 years, and basically my whole job is making sure that we're caring for one another as employees, as whole human beings, and that people feel respected, valued, and heard for all of the diversity that they bring. So yeah, I have a dream job and I love it and I'm super psyched about it. And when I'm not at work, I am a mom and a wife, and I have 4 kids between the ages of 8 and 15. So that's me. Next up.
Jackie?
Hello, Jackie. Thanks, Christina. My name is Jackie Jackson. I'm a director at AT&T, and my job is to make sure all of the retail stores run and operate correctly. So if you think of all of those AT&T wireless stores, I have a team of folks that hire in those stores. So similar to Christina, diversity and inclusion is very important. My teams also look at store operations, making sure that we have everything in the store that it needs to function, whether it's equipment, materials, and people. And my team is also responsible for training and development. So excited to be here, excited to be partnering with JA and Sanofi today. Great opportunity, and look forward to the conversation. So next up, is that Christy?
That would be Joyce.
Hi. Yeah. Hi.
Joyce.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Joyce Buford. I'm a corporate communications manager at Allstate New Jersey. We were in Bridgewater. Of course, we're all working from home now. I'm responsible for public relations, community relations, and issues management. And what that means is, public relations wise, I do programs to educate people about how to be safe. For an example would be doing a teen safe driving program. Community relations wise, I work with organizations like Junior Achievement. I work with organizations supporting women who are in domestic violence situations, providing grant money, organizing volunteerism, and just supporting the organizations on behalf of the company. And then in terms of issues management, it's protecting the company's reputation against anything that might threaten it. I've been with Allstate about 8 years, married. I have 2 grown daughters. One is a engineer for the Nuclear Regulatory Authority in Washington, D.C. And my other child is a marketing director at Sony out of New York City.
Thank you so much, Medea.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Medea Jaffrey. I'm a senior scientist at Lockheed Martin. I've been with the company for 14 years now. My bachelor's, master's, and PhD were in electrical and computer engineering. And currently, basically, my job. So we basically serve the Department of Defense, right? So we build, whether it's ships for the Navy, or aircrafts like the F-35s for the Air Force, or we have things for the Army, but also we are also in space as well. The Orion, or any of the other spacecrafts that you may have heard of. So we are usually involved in that. My current role in Moorestown, New Jersey, we are basically very Navy centric. So my job is to basically look at our product portfolio and figure out how to insert artificial intelligence in it. So, and also do it securely using cybersecurity. So that's my quick background. Personally, I'm a single mom. I have 2 children. They're 9 and 11, and why I have the door closed so they don't just walk in, as they're doing their virtual learning right now as well as we handle this. So I really look forward to having a conversation today with you all.
Great. Thank you so much for those amazing introductions. I know they'll provide great context for our Q&A later. But before we do get to that, we have a lovely panel discussion planned for you. So the first question is, we all know that life can throw us unexpected challenges. Please tell us about your greatest challenge or your greatest setback and how you overcame it. Would anyone like to take this off? Joyce?
Hi. Hi, it's Joyce. I'll start. When I was your age in high school, I decided, for whatever reason, to run for a class office. I wanted to be the senior girls vice president. We had to get a signature from our history teacher to get permission to run for office. I went to my history teacher. She said, "Oh, yes, I will sign." And she signed. She said, "You're not going to win, but it'll be good experience." And the reason she said I wasn't going to win was because it was an all-white high school. I was one of the few Black students there, and it was not expected that any of us could rise to the challenge. But I did rise to the challenge, and I actually won the election by a landslide. So the lesson there for me was, don't let anybody tell you what you can or cannot do. Go after what you believe in, give it your best, and hope for the best. And most likely, you will have a great outcome.
Thank you so much for sharing. That was such an amazing and motivating response. I truly appreciate it. Would Zia also like to answer this question?
Yeah, sure. So my background, I was born in Saudi Arabia, raised there until I was 11, and I moved here. So my parents moved here, brought us over, but they didn't necessarily leave their mindset behind, right? So I think I was born into a challenging culture where I was expected to live under the cultural norms. Now you have to remember, in Saudi Arabia, women just got the ability to drive in 2018, right? So definitely, getting educated and doing anything different was I'm definitely a cause of a lot of gray hair for my parents. But I think just all the opportunities that this country provides, I think it just kind of forced me, just like what Joyce said, that don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do, and I think I was just, in the beginning, it was very scary to push and push. And a lot of times you're completely alone, you don't belong in your own family, your own culture, your thoughts don't correlate there. But then also you're not really ready for the world either. You don't really fit there either, so it's a very lonely road sometimes. So to be courageous and continue to push and believe in yourself is super important. So I think so from my challenge perspective, it's just that the background, and I continue to deal with it even today, getting that PhD women are not supposed to get, going in engineering that women are not supposed to do, hanging out with male engineers. It's a male dominated field, so that's not, now I'm divorced. That's, so a lot of challenges, and I'll probably continue to deal with them as I move forward. So that's it.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. I totally understand, especially as a woman in STEM myself. I was pursuing an engineering degree at Princeton. So I completely understand where you're coming from. And I also have a friend who's from Saudi Arabia pursuing physics. So she's telling me a lot of background that's very similar. I think it's really important to have students understand, no matter where you come from, as long as you have a dream, you can really reach for it. Thank you so much. All right, so for moving on to our second question, which is, looking back on your life and your career, what skill or skills did you develop that enabled you to come this far and accomplish so much? Would anyone like to take this one? Jackie?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So I can say the thing that I would just share with students today, be curious. So the skill that I've developed over time is to ask questions. Now, I can say I've been in many rooms all the way up to the boardrooms at AT&T. And what I find is the people around me are afraid to ask questions. But it's only in asking questions do you really understand what's going on. And I can say that this generation is challenged because you live in a world that's at times virtual in social media, et cetera. So to be able to get beyond that, to have a conversation and to learn something by asking questions is the best skill that I could recommend for anyone. It helps you problem solve. So whether you're an engineer or just a business manager in your future career aspirations, asking questions really gets to the heart of things. At times, people don't tell you everything you need to know, and that's critical. I'm sure in high school it helps to ask questions. I always sat in the front of the room, but in every opportunity that I've ever had from the time I was in high school to today, sometimes it was asking a question like, can you help me? Asking for help. And there's never a dumb question. So that would be my recommendation for everyone listening to my voice. The more questions you ask, the sharper you become.
Thank you so much for taking the time to emphasize curiosity and advocating for yourself. Especially now that I'm in college, I can really see how important it is to ask questions whenever you're stuck, especially in the environment that I'm in, where it's not really necessarily competitive, but it's really important that you keep up front with your work. And if you're stuck, don't be afraid to reach out. So thank you so much for emphasizing that point. For Christina, also like to take this question?
I just want to interrupt for one split second and use that opportunity to remind everybody to use that Q&A box if you have any questions in the spirit of Jackie suggesting curiosity.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, Christina, to dive in, but I wanted to just make that reminder that we can start filling in that chat box and or start thinking of questions for our panel, and we'll get to them towards the end of the session.
Yeah, no problem. So, Oriana, two things come to mind. The first is strong communication skills, and that is, verbal, public speaking. Now it's still public speaking. I'm talking to myself into a laptop, but this is a skill that needs to be honed. And obviously, when we get back where we're actually all in rooms together live time, I think being able to communicate with clarity and passion and in a way that you can put across your ideas with emphasis is really, really an important skill. Equally important to have strong written communication skills, but really just to invest in that. And that means practice. It means putting yourself in uncomfortable situations so that you are seeking out feedback for how you're coming across, because it really, it opens doors in ways that you probably can't even imagine today, just being able to communicate with extreme clarity. The other skill that I would say is being relatable and finding a way to connect with those around you. So right now, and maybe it's through using social media, maybe it's through all of the different research and the data that's available to us, but finding points of connection so that you can endear yourself to those around you, whether it's classmates today or a teacher or a professor or new people as you go into, further your studies beyond high school, and certainly in the workplace. When you're able to make connections quickly, you can get so much more accomplished. So I would say communication skills and being able to create connections and find points of connection with those around you.
Yes, thank you so much. And I completely agree, especially as I'm growing older, I realize the importance of networking, just reaching out. This is nothing to say to take advantage of people and the opportunities, but really getting to know people. It's so important just to, expand the network, expand the people you know, especially now that you guys are going to be high schoolers and then moving forward in your life. You never know what certain connections will take you forward in life. And just speaking on communication, it's so important to realize that you need to understand how to speak clearly and effectively, and really emphasize your point or your message, because especially in college, I know a lot of times different people, especially going to office hours, interpret things differently or say some things that a different way that might be confusing. It's really important just to, make sure you give off your message in a very clear way. So thank you so much, Christina, for emphasizing that. And would Joyce also like to take this question?
Sure. I agree with everything that's been said. I think communications is critical. And for me, writing was a skill that I discovered that I had as a kid. And it's something that I honed over the years. I majored in communications in college, and that skill has enabled me to work for some pretty major companies. I've worked for a bunch of pharmaceutical companies here in New Jersey. And using that skill, I've been able to influence people, to get people to understand, get people to do things, to motivate people to do things, to sell products. It's taken me to 16 countries for different companies where I've been able to use that skill to, again, communicate whatever it was for whatever company I was working for. That's something that is useful whether or not you have a job in communications, but it's something that will serve you well no matter what you do. The ability to communicate to people and to connect, as was said, is so critical to success.
Thank you so much, Joyce. I believe also writing is very important. In fact, I just signed up for a writing seminar for on my next semester. But yeah, just the importance to be persuasive and communicate with people, not only orally through written word as well, is extremely important. No matter what field you are in, especially now I'm looking into STEM, I realize how much you need to be able to write effectively in STEM as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, you're an English major, you have to write well. It applies to all realms, no matter if you're writing reports for your job or no matter, or just the proposals in general, it's just so important. So really take that skill in high school and run with it and make sure you try to excel it while you can. Alrighty, so now we're moving on to our last question of the panel discussion, which is, in thinking about high school girls listening today and in the future, what would you tell your younger self? Jackie, would like to start us off with this question?
Sure thing. I love this question. So, and I love being on this panel with these panelists that clearly I've never met them before, but we have a lot in common. So I studied journalism and Spanish, similar to Joyce's communications in undergrad. And I was able to go to Spain my second year as an academic year abroad. I lived in Madrid, Spain for a whole year. And so my theme for this answer to this question is just seek out all opportunities. You never know how having an experience like me living in Spain led to me getting a job in international when I worked for AT&T. I got an internship in international because on my resume, it said I went to Madrid, Spain. That same trip to Madrid, Spain also led me when I left AT&T for 5 years and worked in optical networking here in New Jersey to work for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So my second day on the job, I was in London. The next week, I was in Paris. The next month, I was in Spain. And so having an international experience is great, but I'm just trying to plant the seed with everyone on the call to just seek out opportunities. It doesn't have to be as exotic as Spain. What about somebody asks you, as we talked about, to give a presentation? What about someone asking you to mentor students? I have enriched my life by mentoring students from Junior Achievement, NAACP, African American Chamber, and I've met people from all over New Jersey and all over the country. I've met AT&T executives through my mentoring activities. So just doing something that you're passionate about can also have rewards and dividends. So to my 17-year-old self, I will say seek out all opportunities. I have 3 kids. But all 3 are in college. Study STEM. So seek out all opportunities. Please study in STEM. All of the jobs will require some coding. Please learn how to code. It's going to be critical. And don't be afraid to try something new.
Thank you so much for that great response. I completely agree with you that it's important to take opportunities. Even coming here today, I was a little bit nervous, if I'm being honest, but I'm so glad I came here regardless to meet all of you wonderful panelists. But in general, it's just so important to put yourself out there and step out the door and like try things. And because even now I'm looking to see what I might do this summer. And it's so important to like, step out your comfort zone a little bit, because you never know what that might bring you in your future. Yeah, so moving on, would Christina also like to take this question?
Sure. So I think back to some of the advice that my mom gave me, and I wish I would have listened even more closely when I was in high school. But pay attention, and not in the way of like pay attention to your teachers, but pay attention to yourself. So if you're going to try all of these different things, if you're going to put yourself out there, like Jackie and Oriana just talked about, then really take the time to sit with the experience and say, how did that make me feel? Did I enjoy it? Was I uncomfortable? Why was I uncomfortable? What did I like about that? I think so much about what I do now as I look back on my life, like there were steps along the way that led me here. And if you pay attention, it might help you remove some things that you don't like necessarily. She always used to ask me very, very practical questions of, do you like being outside? Do you like being around a lot of different people? Do you like working in teams or by yourself? And the more you pay attention to those little clues along the way, the more I think it'll lead you to a pathway in a career that's going to be fulfilling and bring you joy and always engage and challenge you. So just pay attention. You have all of the answers. You just have to listen and seek them out.
All right, thank you so much for that, Christina. I also believe that, pay attention to yourself is very important, especially now that I'm trying to figure out like what I'm majoring in specifically, is what brand to support to figure out like what truly makes me happy. And the smallest difference in between like listening to yourself and listening to what other people say can really help you find that career path that you really want to go on. And it's so important just to, especially when you guys are in high school now, just figure out what you like so you don't end up like, struggling in the future or making up a day job that you hate. It's so important to do something that truly makes you happy. So thank you so much for emphasizing that point. Would Medea also like to answer this question?
Yeah, sure. I'll take that one too. So I think that for me, I would probably say I didn't understand when was a time when I would be grown up enough, to tackle a problem. I think I wish that I knew that I was always empowered to take that action now, to just do it, right? I think I looked up a lot to, well, this is a problem, somebody should fix it. This is a problem, somebody should really fix this, right? And I think it then clicked that it's not like today, tomorrow I'm a leader and tomorrow I'm empowered. I was empowered all along. So I think to take that ownership and just pursue whether it's an idea or actually solving a problem, I think that's just the way you shine. So whether it's about being an adult or or whether it's about being a mentor, when people approached me after the first time, if I could be their mentor, I was like, wow, I'm so young. Am I ready to be a mentor? I don't. But so I think you're always ready for all of these roles. You just have to own them. It's probably what I would say. That there's not going to be a switch where you will be owning that role. It will just embrace it today.
Thank you so much for that amazing response. I believe it's so important just to, it's so easy to be like, okay, I'll do it tomorrow and I'll do it tomorrow and I'll do it. But like, you have to realize that, today tomorrow is not promised to you, and it's important to like, when you have an opportunity to take it when you can. And I know one girl, she's 16, started her own nonprofit between like working in the United States, helping girls code. And she's still young, but she took the opportunity and didn't say, oh, I have school, oh, I have this, I have that. She's like, okay, I'm really passionate about it, so I'm going to do it. So no matter what age you are, like, let passion drive you forward. Don't let age be the determining factor. So I really appreciate that input. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. All those responses were very amazing. And thank you guys so much for answering. You all gave such valuable information that I'm sure the audience will be able to absorb. But if they do have any questions for these lovely panelists, we are entering Q&A right now. So feel free to message them in the chat box. We would be glad to answer the questions.
Yeah, so I've been keeping my eye on the Q&A box over here. and I'm trying to go in order. There's a lot of great stuff here. I'm going to combine two questions here because we have one question around, any advice on how to get out of your comfort zone, and then another question kind of similarly, what advice would you give to someone who has confidence issues? So I'll turn that over to the panel.
One book I would recommend that would help for both of those questions is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Go to your libraries, get that book. It will teach you how to get out of your comfort zone. It'll teach you how to be more self-confident. I am the world's shyest person, and that book really resonated with me. And basically, we all fear that people are judging us. And most of the time, people aren't judging you, but they are open to learning and to hearing from you. So that's one thing that I would recommend.
No, that's a great one, Joyce. Thank you. And I would just like to add to that. I remember, I think I was maybe 8 years old, and I was a Girl Scout. And they asked me to give a presentation in front of 300 girls. My heart, almost stopped. I mean, I had never done it before. But after I did it, the confidence that it built, I thought, wow. And I remember somebody saying, when you're standing up and giving a talk, like how I'm talking here, from my heart, you're the expert in the room. So just embrace that. And as long as you prepare, or at least as long as you are confident in what you're saying, you may not even have to prepare. If you're a talker like me, you'll do just fine. But the more you practice that, the more you actually do it, I think doing would be the code word for me on how to build confidence. Just do it.
And I think, Jackie, I love that, just jumping in and doing it. And I think sometimes we need people to remind us how awesome we are. We all have, I'm sure, our squad that we go to. I know I do, and they're my girls from high school still. So if I'm having a day where I don't feel my best, even today, I might reach out to them and ask them to remind me how awesome I am. Or I might have somebody else say, look, I just need a little bit of a little boost today. So can you help me out? I'm scared about this. So there's got to be someone in your life. Maybe it's a mom, a sister, a cousin, a friend, anybody, to just every now and again, they can be your partner and give you that lift, because we all know sometimes we need someone just to give us a little reminder. And I think that can go a long way in building confidence as well.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say exactly what Christina said as well. I think just a little difference on that one that I would add is that sometimes you're in a bubble of people who can maybe think that. So it's interesting because, again, for me, when I try to juggle the two cultures, I'm totally headstrong and too much of an extrovert in the other culture, right? And they say that you need to calm down, you're too much. And then on this culture, it's like, oh, you are way too kind, you're way too nice, you need to speak up. So perspectives matter. So depending on where you want to be, you have to. It's amazing how when I was in the bubble of my own culture, I really always used to think that, okay, maybe I am overspeaking. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. Maybe I shouldn't, right? And then I stepped out, and it really opened this new perspective. So maybe you just may not have the right perspective. So exactly what Christina is saying, if you don't already have that group of friends to find those people who will tell you that, no, you really were way too nice at that time, or why didn't you speak up? Your idea was really good. And just that little boost helps. And it's okay. We all have imposter syndromes. We act confident up front, but every single one of us has had the, am I really good enough for this or not? That happens. It's very natural. We have to just embrace it and then put the best foot forward.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for answering that. And I will say, this came in a little bit earlier, Medea, but I got a message that says, I think this is when you were doing your introduction. I can completely relate to Ms. Jaffrey. I come from a similar background. What you do is amazing. So just wanted to give you that shout out there. So moving through the chat box here. Again, I have two similar questions that came through. Sierra wants to know, how do you deal with people treating you different than others in the workplace due to your gender? And then Samantha asked, have any of you felt like you have been discriminated against because you're a woman while trying to find a job? What advice would you give us for the future? So kind of two questions. I guess if there's anything that you could share about your current workplace or any experiences you've had, and then if there's anything that you've encountered while you're on the job search. I know everybody's thinking of their answer here.
Well, I'll jump in because a big part of my job is to make sure that the workplace is free of those kinds of issues. And so what I would invite you all to consider that most, certainly large organizations have someone who's overseeing inclusion and diversity. Even the smallest organizations now have realized how critical it is that we have workplaces where everyone not only feels that they're included, but they can truly belong. And I always like to tell people that, the difference between it is, diversity is being invited to the party, inclusion is being asked to dance, and belonging is when you dance like nobody's watching, right? That's what we're all striving for. So if you're in a situation, even in school, where you feel as though you're being treated a certain way because of your gender, or that something's not fair and has nothing to do with your merit or your effort or your skills, there are so many places now where that's just, it's never acceptable, but there are processes and there are steps that you can go down to share that experience. And in my estimation and in my work, in most cases, it's as soon as you bring it to light, you start a conversation as to how something made you feel. And it's usually a difference between impact and intent, right? So someone's not intending to treat women a certain way or girls a certain way, but as soon as you're able to say, look, when you did that thing, it made me feel this way, here's the impact it had on me. And then I always invite people to help educate others along why we need to be really cautious of intent and impact. But it's never okay to treat people other than or differently or less than because of their gender or any other aspect of who you are, period, hard stop. But that's my view on it.
Yeah, I would say being an engineer at Lockheed Martin, again, it's a very, very male-dominated industry, and especially Department of Defense has an even bigger issue with diversity. So, just like what Christina is saying, we have, all these D&I courses and training that we take, but there's definitely a difference. You are treated differently because you are a female, and of course, but then also there are also allies that take a stand for you as well, right? So I know that we have like Society of Women Engineering, we have all these organizations that you can be a part of. But I think what I've learned in my career, the most important thing I could do is actually get mentors who don't look like you. So my male allies have been the ones who have helped fight against all the biases and the discrimination that their peers may be doing behind my back, right? So I think as you, when we go, and I guess that's male allies is one, and the second part is the higher education. I think you have the college dropout success stories from the Mark Zuckerbergs and all those guys. But they're all men. We don't have the female dropout success story yet because I think, again, because of that bias. And there was this one woman, right, with the I forget the name of the company, but she didn't do so well with the dropout thing. But anyway, so I think we need to, for now, in the generation, the time we are in, the higher education makes a difference. I think when I say I'm Dr. Jaffrey, it cuts months of trying to prove myself and my worth. So I think depending on which side of STEM you're going in, higher education will help, and allies would be really powerful.
Yeah, it's Jackie. I'll add on to that. I agree with all the comments from the panelists. I can say when I was just graduating college, this is pre-internet, okay, so bear with me. I walked the pavement in New York City trying to find a job. And you literally had to go get an application and fill it out and fill out all this information about you and your job, go to the next building, fill out another. My hand was sore by the end of the day. But I found the jobs that people looked at me and saw me doing were secretarial. In New York, there are a lot of banks, a lot of investment banks, and they figured, you look like the lady over there, she's a secretary. So women got into the workforce at probably the lowest levels of management or non-management, and that was the historical way it was. Today, that's not the case, as we talked about here. So I would say education is critical. I did a master's degree so they could stop thinking about me as a secretary. I'm like, hey, and even my kids, my son's 23, he finished his IT degree at Rutgers. In game production and innovation. I had him continue on his master's in business and science and UX design, and he's interning at Colgate-Palmolive right up in his bedroom right now. They sent him a laptop. So that education gave him an edge, and on Wednesday, he's interviewing for a rotational assignment at Colgate-Palmolive. Very few African Americans studying in STEM, so please consider a STEM education.
I would just like to say, I would just like to say, I have a daughter who is an engineer, as I mentioned earlier, and she has been able to break through the male barrier. She works for the government. She actually has 12 male engineers reporting to her. The thing that helps her is her education. She has a master's from Columbia in engineering, and that has earned her at least enough respect in order to be able to manage a whole a male-dominated culture.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. So I'm seeing a lot of great questions come in here, and this is a topic we haven't quite gotten into yet around the idea of work-life balance. So Asma asked, how do you deal with the pressure and fear of wanting to pursue a time-consuming career such as medicine, but being told you can't because of the work-life balance and not being able to focus on having a family? So is there anything anybody would like to share around that work-life balance piece? I know everybody's thinking of their answer.
I can add real quick, and I'll let the other participants add on. At AT&T, we value work-life balance. As you can see, I'm in my living room here working, which is awesome. But I have 3 children, and as I was working at AT&T, they've allowed me to work from home a lot. I think some of my kids, I have a 18-year-old and a 20-year-old. She's the 18-year-old at Rutgers, a freshman. I think when they were little, I don't think they knew mom had a job because I was always there. And then when I did go into the office, we have mobile technology. I took the call in the car to make sure I was at the school bus when they came off. So there's definitely today, you guys are equipped with an awful lot of technology. You can be anywhere and still get the job done. Now, doctors are different. They actually have the telemedicine, but there may be some times that they have to be, they're surgeons, they have to physically be there, and that's a very rigorous job. But as long as you have support around you, you can accomplish anything.
I totally agree with that, Jackie. And the other half of what I do besides inclusion and diversity is total well-being. So it's making sure that we're prioritizing work-life balance. And every one of the organizations that we work for, I know, have teams that are looking at these programs and resources as well. So make that a part of how you choose. Make that a part of how you think about where you're going to bring your gifts and how you want to contribute to a particular company or industry. It's only getting better as the time goes on, as more and more organizations understand that it is critical that people feel that they have full lives, that they're able to be, parents when they need to be parents, or caregiving for their aging loved ones, or they want to train for a marathon and still get great work done. I think that you can be a little selfish in how you choose in whatever path you decide to go down. I mean, obviously there are going to be areas like Jackie mentioned, where if you're a physician and you're on call, you're on call. You can do anything. You can't do everything all at once, right? I think that's the part where we all have to realize there are times in my career where I've had to slow down a little bit so that I could go faster later. And you make decisions for what's right for you, but there's no one prescribed way to get it done anymore. And I think the more and more we can all get comfortable with being creative, the better off we're all going to be. So I'm excited for you. I'm jealous that the workforce that you're going to go into has made this a priority, because we know how critically important it is for people to be productive in all parts of their lives.
Yeah, for me, this question hits a little, personally, because, when I read this, the pressure and fear of wanting to pursue a time-consuming, but being told you can't, that again hits me very closely, right, from the cultural, because I think that was exactly what was told to me, when I was trying to pursue the passion. I wish that I could say that the words, this is a very personal, so there's definitely, all the things have been said about work-life balance from a company perspective, right? So nowadays companies offer all these things, and so from the company, go and pursue the company that offers the best balance. But internally, when you're talking about yourself and your family, in order to have a balance, you need to have a family that enables that balance as well, right? So whoever is your partner needs to be able to support you on that, right? You shouldn't have to sacrifice from the start to then be with a partner who then takes advantage of you, sacrificing on all your career and everything, right? It should be this is what I want to do. Let me find a partner who will support this to enable that balance. So I think there's this internal part as well, and then there's the external, so yes, to everybody's point, that I think the companies are definitely enabling it, but also internally feel empowered to because otherwise, again, for me, I didn't pursue a lot of my passion exactly because of this fear and exactly for this reason. But I think depending on how, but then you explode, you're just an unhappy person. So you have to balance that, how much of this passion you want to pursue and have the balance. And exactly what Christina is saying, there are seasons in life, there are things that you can't do all at once, but you want to stage them out, find the partners, find the friends, find the people who will support you in your journey, but it is the only journey you will get. So make the most of it. Don't sacrifice or settle because some people are telling you otherwise.
Fantastic. So I have a few more questions here, and I am watching the clock. And I also want to say, Oriana, feel free to jump in and answer any of these questions too. I know our students would love to hear from you since I've kind of taken over the chat box here. So question from Kavya. What do you think made you stand out in your work environment that's allowed you to reach where you are today? I love that question. Not an easy answer, right? Nobody wants to brag about themselves, but this is the place for it.
I think one of the things that you have to pay attention, right? So pay attention to yourself, but also if you keep getting the same kind of feedback, you should pay attention to that as well. The feedback that I get is around vulnerability and humility. So frequently, especially for women, and especially when you get to a certain stage or level, everybody wants to project perfection all the time. Like, I've got it all together, everything's perfect, it's all good. And I know certainly in your lives from a social media standpoint, everybody has to have the right filter on. You want to be, the pictures are taken this certain way. So here's the thing. I think part of why I've been able to do meaningful work that brings me joy and makes a difference is because I'm also very frequently being honest about when things are really hard, when I have made a mistake and the lessons I've learned, when I look people in the eye and say, right now, I am stressed and I am anxious and this is scary, and being a human these days can be kind of difficult, but being able to put it out there has enabled others to connect. And when people connect with you, they show up differently and they can give more freely of themselves. So I think being vulnerable and humble about constantly learning has really gone a long way for me in my career to this point.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I can add to that. It's Jackie. I would say authenticity, similar to what Christina said, bringing your whole self to work and not just part of yourself. So I remember going to schools similar to what Joyce said. They were all white, and I managed to be class president too in my junior year. So just bringing your whole self to work like you bring your whole self to school, right? So that means, you know how you meet people at school and it's like, she's not real. You know who the real people are and you know who the real people aren't. So be real, be you, be your authentic self. And that means that you're going to be different than your friends. You're not going to be exactly like anyone. I don't think there's anyone at AT&T with 274,000 employees just like me. There may be people that I have things in common with, but it's okay to be different. It's okay to speak up when no one else does. Because what you want to do is just be you, and then people start to trust you, and those are the people you want to hire, right? I have a job where integrity is important. I need to make sure that everything works as planned in a retail store. And we usually have folks that are, pretty young running these $1 million stores. So we need to hire people with integrity. You either have it or you don't, right? So I'm saying be yourself, and that will shine through. So even in an employment situation, people will get a chance to know you for who you are.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think we have time for one or two more, and this question came through a couple times here. At what point did you amazing women know what career path you would follow? So when within your education and your path, at what point did you feel like you found your footing as to know what you wanted to do? Thinking about our high schoolers on the line here who are certainly trying to think through all of those options and planning and everything for the future.
I would say I still don't know, right? So I think that your your path changes. I wanted to, when I came to the U.S. and I played with art for the first time, I wanted to be an artist. So from artist to engineering, I went into okay, can I draw in like mechanical engineering? Then it went to civil engineering, and then I went to electrical. So eventually, I ended up drawing circuits, and electrical engineering was my passion for art. But so you never know. And then I graduated with a certain skill set, and then I got into cryptography as my first job. So you don't know, and after that, it depends on the opportunities that you get. So so I think I went to college to learn how to learn, and I think I think that's every time a new opportunity comes up, you just jump at it and you execute if it's obviously aligns with your passion, right? And you just continue. So I think I don't know what will be offered to me tomorrow, and if I'll take it, and that may be a completely different career switch for me. So, and we also grow, and we also become passionate about different things as we grow. So things can change. So what you pursue in college, don't let that be. Don't think of that as that's what I'm going to do for the next 40 years. It's not.
When I was in high school, my desire was to work for Glamour magazine in New York City. I grew up in Kansas, and you can't be any further from New York living in Kansas. But I studied. I thought that was what I was going to do. Then I realized that in those days, and this was a really long time ago, Glamour magazine didn't hire Black people. And so I was able, though, to take what I love to do, which was writing, and I moved to corporate America. And I have been in corporate America for over 30 years, and I've had probably the best career that anybody could ever have because I've been able to write and do the kind of writing that I enjoy and get paid for it And there are many perks that I've had along the way. Going to great restaurants, meeting celebrities, meeting great people, traveling, all the things that have been afforded to me by being in corporate America that I probably would never have experienced if I'd gone to Glamour magazine. I'd probably been a copywriter and never, who knows? So I'm happy that I took the corporate route because there are 500,000 million companies. There was only one Glamour magazine. So that's my advice.
I might have been muted there. Thank you so much. So I think the last question that came in that I saw, I think might be a great way for us to wrap up. I know the hour certainly flew, but this question came from Melina, and I just think it's such a great one. What does success mean to you? So kind of thinking through that and looking at that through the lens of wrapping up and our parting words for our students today. And while you're thinking of an answer, to our panelists, before we jump off today, I'm going to take a little photo, like a screenshot of all of us. So we'll do that at the very end. But while you're thinking of your answer, I figured I'd share that. So I'll turn it over to Oriana, maybe to help sort of moderate through the final question.
Yes, of course. Especially as a college student now, like I was thinking about the definition of success. And one day I was thinking about it as we're all like little pawns in the game of life. And a lot of us we're playing the game to reach this definition of success society has set for us. And it's so important to step back and take a second to realize what's your own definition. Think about what makes you happy. And I realized that though education is extremely important, the basic line for my success is being happy and making sure that other people around me are happy as well. And I think that's so important just to take it back and realize what makes you happy, and use that to help find your own definition of success. Because although it's tempting to have other people influence your definition of success or society, because society is extremely influential, especially nowadays with technology and everything being online, you can see different other people's realm of reality. But it's just so important to realize, I feel like, to connect between your happiness and then your definition of success, and then find where they two meet and find the middle ground between those two. So that's what I would answer for that. And yeah.
For me, being successful is doing something that you love, that you're good at, that brings value to other people, and that pays you.
Yeah, I'll add to that. So success to me, I was born successful. That's just how I look at things. I don't define success in any other way. But then to do, as we talked about, do something that makes you happy. I found at times my job was boring. Hey, job's boring. So what do? I find something to put around it, like mentoring and community outreach, and I do something else that makes me happy. Find your passion. It doesn't have to be at work. And you can be successful, even more successful in your passion than even at work.
That's such great advice, Jackie. And similarly, success for me is being able to care for my family in a way that we're safe and we're healthy, and to do work that allows me to contribute to the greater good, that I can feel good about, that I am proud that it makes an impact in some way. So that's how I define success. Medea, take us home.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I can follow that one. I think for me, I had to learn what happiness meant to me to begin with, right? So sometimes I'm more of a servant leader. I like to help others. But when you're helping others, you're not getting the limelight on yourself. So then I wouldn't get the titles and the promotions, others would. So then I was like, well, I don't like that, but I could either help or get the titles, right? Do the right check boxes and just get the titles, or so sometimes you have to realize what is happiness to you in the first place. Is it the title, the money, or is it what makes you feel ethical and good, and what when people, and I think I'm probably a rare case because I lived under a rock for so many years. But I mean, just listening to Ariana, right, and how confident her response was, I think I wish I was like that at her age, right? So I think once you discover what happiness is it the money? Are you going to work to make a difference, or are you going to work as a mean to pursue your passion outside of work, just like what Jackie was saying? So I think once you figure out the happiness, I think that it automatically leads us to what success would be.
Great. Thank you all so much for your responses. I think it was a wonderful way to close it up, especially, women being future leaders is trying to find your definition of success is completely crucial. So thank you all for sharing, and thank you all for attending this wonderful event. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'm going to just take over for one split second. I want to get that great photo of our panelists here. So if I can just get everybody to just say a quick virtual cheese. 1, 2, 3.
Cheese.
Fantastic. And while I still have everybody here for one more second, I'm just going to share my screen one more time. Hopefully this works a little bit better than last time I did, but I just wanted to showcase the upcoming sessions that we have coming up in the future weeks. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. So we have, this is a weekly seminar with different activities and different events coming up. Same time, same place for the next few weeks through the end of December. We have next week is all around goal setting, networking with confidence, and we'll have different activities and different sessions each week. So no need to register for all of them. You can pop in and pop out each week if you're able to, for the students on the phone today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And thank you so much again to our amazing panelists and our sponsors, and to Oriana. Thank you so much for your fantastic job moderating today. We can't thank you enough. And I guess that's it for us over here. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Great.